Today is Sunday, September the 20th, so this is the video for Friday, September the 18th, and I don't think I've done one for a while, maybe a few days, because we're really waiting for some clear signal, and we're starting to get some clear signals now, so we're going to wait and see if there's going to be some follow-through. But here's the McClellan oscillator, which is sort of in the middle between neutral and oversold, but as you can see, we have spent a lot of time in the oversold area. And this was the market having just had too much of this happening before the summer. And then this has been what the summer's been like. So we definitely were in the party stage in the market, and prices had just gotten out of control. So here's some of the signs that we're looking for. Look at the S&P 500. There were buyers just above the cloud. We were waiting for this cloud event to happen, and we've fallen below the 50. The 200 is still below the cloud. So we're going to look on Monday. We should be able to see a little bit of a bounce on Monday. I haven't looked at the news yet this morning, the financial news. Let's look at the markets when they open up tonight at 6 o'clock for a little bit of a bounce. But let's see if we get that follow through to see if the cloud really was the support that we were looking for. The Dow Jones did get support on the 50. That's a good sign. But look at that. The Chiku span has fallen under the candles, much like the S&P 500, where the Chiku span has fallen under the candles as well. The NASDAQ looks like this. Again, its Chiku span has fallen below the candles, and look, we've got that support that we were looking for. So that contact with the cloud that we were hoping to happen as we were doing this pullback has indeed happened, although we're below the 50. We had rejection from the 50 simple moving average on Friday. So everything is coming in contact with the cloud. How about some of our stocks? Well, look at Apple. We drew this green line back here some time ago, and that is what we hit. And we also hit the buyers were just above the cloud, Chiku span below the candles, also not a good sign. So we don't have a clear signal really that this is going to follow through with the bounce. If we look at our Fibonacci's, this wave here, we are seeing, let's pull this out so we can see our lines separately. We didn't quite get to the 61.8%. That would have coincided on Friday with this point on the cloud. Instead, we stopped at this 38.2%. And this Fibonacci is looking at this wave repeating off of this pullback. And you can see that we did pull back to that's the green ones. So we pulled back to the 38.2% on that Fibonacci almost. What are some of the other stocks we follow? Well, Caterpillar is just continuing to chug along and is consolidating here. Could consolidate for a breakout. Home Depot, which was a stellar stock for a while, now is starting to pull back also. There was something in the market that says Home Depot and Lowe's might just be overbought, and there might be a cooling off period now coming, particularly if there's a second coronavirus wave. Pulled back below the 50, got some support, has not yet hit the cloud. That's something that we're still waiting to happen. Whirlpool, similar. We didn't look at Home Depot's Chiku span, which has fallen below the candles. Caterpillar, still quite high. Let's look at some other ones that we don't normally look at. Amazon got its support at the bottom of the cloud. Zach, I think it was, mentioned in the comments that Amazon had lost the support of the cloud and finished up on Thursday right here in the center. So where did we actually find our support? Buyers were at just a little bit above the cloud, but if you look back here with the Chiku span and you draw a green line at the low point of the day, you can see quite clearly that the low point of the day was the Chiku span hitting these 50 moving averages, the simple and the extended. The fact that they're so close together, there's a bit of a magnet for price and a bit of a magnet for the Chiku span. So that was an important support point for Amazon. So Amazon might see a little bit of a bounce on Monday. Let's look at Facebook. Somebody was mentioning Facebook in the, I'm going to get rid of these Fibonacci's and update them if we ever come back and look at Fibonacci's. But again, Chiku span below the candles lost the cloud, so it's quite possible that Facebook will now come and seek support as Amazon did at the bottom of the cloud. Google, we don't look at very often, lost the cloud. Looks more like Google will be looking for support at its 200. And if we look at its low point on Friday, that was the Chiku span getting support off of the cloud and finding a reason to bounce. Lastly, before we look at the banks, Netflix, taking too long. Let's go look at the banks. Things are a little bit slow today. I was having trouble logging on this morning with my trading broker with MotiveWave, so maybe they're not talking well to each other. Anyways, we got through the stocks that we wanted to get through. I think what we're seeing is a lot of indecision in the market. The Chiku span is sort of in the middle of no man's land here. We're seeing a lot of Chiku span under the candles. We're seeing a lot of interplay between candles and the cloud, something that we like to see and is a good indicator for us. Let's see if we can pull up Tesla. We can't. Can we pull up Netflix? There's Netflix. Netflix long ago lost the support of the cloud. I think I'm going to want to refresh these Fibonacci's as well. If I were trading Netflix, I'd be drawing new Fibonacci's. And you can see the Chiku span here ended the day where? Just exactly under this candle here. And where was it on its low of the day? Again, draw that green line. And the Chiku span actually did get into the cloud before the stock managed to bounce back up. If you're looking for support points, you might want to look at 1 hour or 15-minute clouds. Is there anything else that we want to look at? Let's look at JP Morgan as one of the bank stocks, and it has fallen through the cloud. Let's take a quick look at some of the other banks. Let's look at, put the cloud on all of them. So we can see Bank of America fallen below the cloud. Goldman Sachs rejected off the cloud, still trying to work its way back. JP Morgan under the cloud. Wells Fargo above the cloud. US Bank, look at US Bank, just sort of running and channeling along, getting support off of the cloud and moving steady. And Citigroup, just really not a very healthy stock. So the banks aren't telling us very much. I would be looking for signs in the market, obviously the S&P, but I'd be looking for Apple. Apple would be a great buy if we could get it down at 87.71. I have not been holding Apple until I cleared myself of all my short puts quite some weeks ago. I'm still sitting on about 60% cash now, and my two major holdings are Home Depot and Caterpillar, and they are covered with in-the-money calls November, so those stocks could go to the, could really get in trouble, and it wouldn't bother my bank balance at all. I'm still waiting for that sign that tells me it's time to dip back in. Look for one tomorrow, or Tuesday, or Wednesday. Failing that, we got some more downside coming. Chiku span is telling us that that downside is still a likelihood.